Hey everyone, it's Maddie. Today I'm going to be filming a book haul. I'm trying out a new filming area. This is actually, we're in my bedroom, and I just think with sound, this might be the best place to go. So I'm still figuring out exactly where I want the camera to be, exactly where I want stuff to be in the background, if I'm gonna put anything on the wall, so work in progress. But anyway, I have a good amount of books here, some from two different used bookstores locally, a couple that I was sent, like from friends, and a couple that I got from eBay, used books. Okay, so let's get into it. First, I'm just gonna start out with the two books that I have. They're actually like brand new books. They weren't ever used. The first one here is Gone by Stacy Claflin. This book I received in from my book club. One of my book clubs, we did a blind date with a book in February, and this is the one that I chose. I don't remember exactly what the words were, but I know it was a thriller book, and that's why I chose it. This book, I believe, is about a missing child or a missing teenager, and it probably follows the mother. Not 100% sure. I'd actually never heard of this book when I got it, so I was pretty excited about that. We'll see, though. The next book that I got that was new is Platform 7 by Louise Doughty. This is the Literally Dead Book Club pick for March. That's Books and Lala's book club. This one, I believe, is a horror book about people who have jumped off this platform or died on this platform or something like that, but I'll definitely be reading that at some point this month. Now we're getting into a huge stack of used mass market paperbacks. A lot of them are vintage horror books, so let's just see. This one is Driver's Ed by Carolyn B. Cooney. I saw this at the used bookstore and had a distinct memory of reading this in 8th grade, and just I had to have it. I'm pretty sure this is about a group of students who cut down a stop sign and bad stuff happened. Next, I have I Know What You Did Last Summer by Lois Duncan. You may think this is a novelization of the movie, but it's actually first. The book came first. And while it's not like the epitome of great YA horror, it just is one of those books that I read where I had such a good time, and I love this movie, and I saw it at the bookstore and I had to have it. Next one, The House by Bentley Little. This is a situation where I recognize the author, and I was pretty sure this is the book I had on my TBR by him, and it turns out it was. So I grabbed it. I know it's a haunted house book. That's all I really know, but I've never read any Bentley Little, and I would really like to. The next one is Devil's Carnival by Warren Murphy and Mark Brownwood. This book was a peer cover buy. If you check that out, I mean, come on. I don't even think I know what this book is about, but I needed to have it. It's beautiful little mass market horror. I needed to have it. Next, I grabbed Usher's Passing by Robert McCammon. This is another author that I really recognized his name, but I knew this was one that was on my list because I think this is somehow related to The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. And I knew that this was on my list, so I snatched that one up. The next one I grabbed is The Cellar by Richard Lehman. This is one that I saw and immediately just snatched up because I've been wanting to read this book. I know this book has been on my TBR for a while. I think it has something to do with like a creature down in the cellar. Again, that's all I really know, but this is one that I know I've had on my TBR for a while, and every time I see the cover, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to read it. Next, I grabbed The House Next Door by Anne Rivers Siddons. This is another one, again, that has been on my TBR for a long time, and I was thinking about reading this for the Ladies of Horror Fiction Month, and I know I saw a bunch of people posting it on Instagram, and it just sounds really good, and I love a haunted house story, so definitely gonna pick this one up. Next, I got Jaws by Peter Benchley. This is the book that the movie Jaws is based off of. You may see a little bit of a trend here. I did get a couple books that were made into movies. It's for an upcoming video that I'm hoping to complete. But anyway, this one I've never read, and I'm a little bit concerned, I guess is the word, because I love the movie Jaws. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and yes, Jaws is a horror movie. You can fight me on it. It's a horror movie. But the reason that this kind of scares me a little bit, or I'm a little wary to read it, is because people have said that, my dad actually told me that Hooper is a douche, a little bit of a douche in this one, and the chief also is kind of a jerk in this one, and I don't know, those are two of my favorite characters in the movie, so we'll see. I mean, it's not going to ruin my feelings about the movie, but we'll see. Next, I grabbed Sliver by Ira Levin with this lovely shiny cover here. Ira Levin wrote Rosemary's Baby, which I read last month, I believe. So that kind of intrigued me, and then I read the back, and this one is about a man who's like kind of watching a woman, I think. I think he might be the landlord of the apartment that she just moved into. And those kind of stalkery type books always intrigue me. Next, I grabbed Audrey Rose by Frank DiFelitta. This is one that was on my list. I went down a rabbit hole of a bunch of vintage horror, and my Goodreads is now shaming me for it. But this one, I think, has to do with reincarnation or something like that of this little girl. But I don't know. It's a great cover. Love that cover. Then I snagged Winter Haunting by Dan Simmons. I have not read Summer of Night, which is the first one in this series, but I plan on reading that in summer. But I figured, like, if it was there, I might as well pick it up. I like Dan Simmons. I think he's a good author. You know, a couple bucks. Nothing wrong with that. Then I grabbed Phantoms by Dean Koontz. I have never read any Dean Koontz books. And I feel like I see his name almost as much as I see Stephen King's name. So I was interested in picking it up, seeing what he was about. This one I think is a creature feature type of book. Something to do with a bunch of people in town dying and they think it's a disease, but what actually it is more terrifying than you could ever imagine. It's one of those type of synopses. Yeah, I just wanted to check out some Dean Koontz, and this is one title that I recognize, so I snagged it up. Okay, the next stack here is an assortment of not mass market paperbacks, but a variety of other used books. So first I got 4 Goosebumps books. It's numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have Monster Blood, very much, love that. Say Cheese and Die. The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, and Let's Get Invisible. Okay, so my used bookstore has a ton of Goosebumps books. I had to restrain myself from buying an absurd amount of them because I have a goal, not necessarily just for this year, but in general, to reread all of these. I have such a love from my childhood of reading these, and I just think it'd be really fun to go back through them. I ordered the first 2 off eBay, so those will get here when they get here, and then I can go ahead and start on this. But for now, they're just taunting me, and I really want to read them. But I'm gonna read them in order for no real reason. Most of them aren't connected, but we're gonna read them in order. Then I grabbed The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. This is another one that I bought on eBay. There is this specific seller on eBay that does, like, if you buy, I think it's like 3 or more, you get 10% off, and they've pretty much always had the books I'm looking for. I think it's Discover Books. I'll put the name of it in the description if you're interested. But this is The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. This is the book that was made into the movie Hellraiser. Again, you're seeing a trend. I will say nothing more. Figure it out yourself. I also got The Woman in Black by Susan Hill, which was made into The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe. This is a movie about a ghost. A ghost at Eomarsh House. That's all you need to know. Then I was ordering some books for my dad on Thrift Books and needed to get over the $10 mark, so oh no, I had to buy myself a book. I grabbed Disappearance at Devil's Rock by Paul Tremblay. This is the only Paul Tremblay I haven't read, apart from his short story collection, but this is his only novel that I haven't read. And I believe this is about a disappearance. Somebody goes missing. I think it's a young boy. Then I grabbed Flight or Fright by Stephen King. Well, it's edited by Stephen King. This is 17 short stories. It's a collection. All that have to do with being on an airplane or being in the air or something like that. And this is what I've been wanting, and when I saw it at my used bookstore, I just snagged it right up. Then I grabbed Jane Doe by Victoria Helen Stone. This is a book that Mara from Books Like Whoa said was really, really good. So again, when I saw it at the used bookstore, I grabbed it up. Want to read it? Then we have White is for Witching by Helen Oyeyemi. I believe this is a horror book. It might be about a haunting. It could be about witches. Not 100% sure, but I'm gonna read it. Then I grabbed Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. I believe this book is about a serial killer, and I don't know much else about it by that, but the title, like Exquisite Corpse, really appealed to me, and I just picked it up. This is another used bookstore. The rest of them are actually from my used bookstore. A different one. I have two that I go to, and one of them always has a bunch of the horror mass market paperbacks, and then one of them I find stuff like I'm showing you now. Both equally good. Then I was so excited to find Hell House by Richard Matheson. This is one that my library doesn't have. I haven't been able to find previously at the used bookstore. So I was really excited to see it there. It's got a little, it's had a little love, but for me that just appeals, that just adds to the appeal of the book for me. This is another haunted house story. Richard Matheson is a very well-known author. He also wrote I Am Legend, which I haven't read, but I've seen the movie. It's on my list, but here we go. Then I was so excited to find a King Hodder paperback. Anytime I see one of these in the wild, I'll get them. They're really nice. Like, they all have one color, and they all have like a minimalist sort of art design on the front. I know a lot of people like collect these and will actively seek them out, but I'm more of like, if I see it in the wild, I'll grab it. Otherwise, my mass market paperbacks are just fine. This is The Dark Half, which I believe this is one where an author is writing a book and one of his characters comes to life or something like that. I'm not sure about it exactly, but it's something like that. And finally, the last book I got is Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. This is a true crime book. It's about the Osage murders, and this is it has to do with how the FBI came to be. It says the birth of the FBI, but this is a cover that's very recognizable to me as somebody who reads and is really interested in true crime. I feel like a lot of people talk about this, and again, when I saw it, I was like, well, I'm gonna read that, so here we go. So that's gonna do it for me. That's my incredibly large haul. I feel like I probably shouldn't buy some books for a while, but we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much for watching. I hope maybe you saw a book that you were interested in, or maybe you saw a book that you've read. Let me know if you have any comments about any of these books, if you have strong feelings about how they are or the quality of them. But thank you so much for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you would like to see more content from me. And I will see you next time. Bye.